All right, folks. Sorry about that. A little delayed. Okay. Well, my name is Patrick Kincaid. I am the founder and master coach at Master Private Label. We guide Amazon sellers on a journey to start and run their own Amazon businesses. And in the recent years, I've been pushing towards getting Amazon sellers to be a little bit more climate forward in their thinking and in their business activities. So that's what we're here today to talk about, making a difference with an earth forward Amazon business. A little housekeeping first. You guys will have to excuse me. We've got kind of quirkiness going on in our slides here because I got two different machines running the slides at the same time. So, and now this one's not working. We've got 4 screens, 2 laptops, a clicker, a mic. It's getting confusing. All right, let's do it that way. Okay, our presenting sponsors, I'd like to thank them as usual. We are at the, 10th annual Denver Startup Week? Excuse me. Yeah, we could not do it without all these guys, so thanks for all of their help. Again, you are at Make a Difference with an Earth Forward Business on Amazon. You are in the right place if that's what you're here to see. All right. Who in here feels like a little goldfish in a big old huge pond when it comes to yes? Perfect. Well, we're here today, and my goal when I teach people and guide them up through the ranks is to make us at least appear like a shark at first, and sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. So that's what our goal is when we first get started. It doesn't matter what business you're going into, and I've gone into quite a few of them in the course of my years here on the planet. They have all made me feel like a little fish in a big pond when I first got started. So, thank you, John. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to have to make sure I click. All right, so what's my story? Well, that handsome guy on the left there, that would be me. Would be awesome. Thank you very much. What is your name? Julian? Thank you. You get a special prize. So in case you stress out later, falling behind on the clicking. Especially since we're 6 minutes behind. Okay, so again, I am the handsome guy on the left there. The kid in the middle is my pride and joy, and he is my why. His name is Kodiak. He is 8. He couldn't be here with me today. Next trip, he's coming. And on the right there, of course, is my lovely, supportive wife, who nothing would be possible without her. When I was a kid, I grew up son of an archaeologist and spent a lot of time outdoors. Boy Scout, loved being out in the outdoor world. I grew up in southeastern Arizona. This is not me, this is Kodiak, but took him back to my homeland in the recent years. And I just grew a love for the outdoor world. I lived out there. My mom would get mad, like, why are you not in your room reading? Like, well, no, I need to get outside. So that kind of has stuck with me my entire life. And my dad, being an archaeologist, got us out to explore ancient Indian ruins and really spend a lot of time outdoors. And as a result, I developed a love for the outdoors and a love for people. Today, my biggest fun every year and what keeps me grounded is going backpacking. I go in the Sierra Nevadas in California every summer, multiple trips. We took a trip to Rocky Mountain National Park a couple years ago. So I love to backpack. I'm still really outdoor focused. So fast forward 20 years from my childhood, and after going back to school to fulfill my childhood dream, I ended up getting my degree, and it was a specialized degree that me and my advisor sorted out in environmental anthropology. Now, you can study environmental anthropology, but at that time at UC Davis, there was no degree path for it. But I wanted to mix the study of people, which is what anthropology is, with how we interact with our environment. And so upon getting that degree, and with many years already as a struggling entrepreneur behind me, and with a growing new family, I did not want to have a day job when I graduated. I wanted to do things differently than my parents and grandparents did. And so, what was I to do? And then 9 months later, shortly after graduating and getting married, we had a baby. I had a baby. No. My wife had a baby. We had a baby. Grew the family. I have stepchildren and my son. And it became all the more apparent that I needed to do something, obviously to support the family, but also to pursue my passions. And it's really hard when you've just got a degree and you're facing that dilemma. I was trying to go with my new way of thinking about things rather than being to go off to a 9 to 5 and leave my kids at home with my wife or the nanny or whatever. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be there. Kodiak is my only biological kid, so I really needed to be there for him. So what was I going to do was the question I was asking. Then one fine sunny California day in 2014, a friend introduced me to Amazon FBA. Amazon FBA has certainly revolutionized e-commerce. Who in here has heard of Amazon FBA? Ooh, we got about half of you. So, it's a pretty amazing thing. And when I heard about it, it was like eye-opening. A friend of mine told me about it. Basically, for those of you who don't know what Amazon FBA is, it's short for Fulfillment by Amazon. As a seller, and 60% of the sellers on the platform, 60% of the products on Amazon are from third-party sellers. They're from friends and neighbors in their basements, from small companies to big brands, but they're not Amazon itself bringing those products to market. And all those private sellers, third-party sellers, can send in their product to the Amazon warehouses using the preferred Amazon shipping rates, by the way, and you can get your product stocked. Amazon stocks it in their warehouses. They ship it all over the country and stock it where they need to. And then when the orders come in, they fulfill them. And then when the customers want to return it, they handle that. Amazon handles the customer service. Everything from the product getting sourced and shipped into Amazon, they handle the whole rest of it. That is FBA. And it is a pretty amazing thing. It's the reason why Amazon is the biggest company on the planet. Okay? So we formed an LLC, and I started selling products on Amazon. I started out of a 20-foot RV with an RV with a 20-foot canvas tent behind it. And I was a recent graduate with student loans to pay, but I was doing this, right? And so I happened to get some partners, and I started an LLC and started selling products on Amazon. Now, I had been selling on eBay and some books and stuff on Amazon for a number of years, but we were going all in, okay? So I immediately had to teach myself how to do this. This was back in 2014, 2015. There was no training for the most part. There was hardly any of the tools. We did all of our research and data collection by hand. We had all these quirky tricks we did. It would take 17 hours what it takes today to do in half an hour or less as a runner of an Amazon business, right? So our Amazon business grew. Over the years, we developed into a full-fledged e-commerce brand harnessing the Amazon FBA platform. And let me just say, if you guys are not getting all the notes you want to get down, if you grab a card, and I'll pop a QR code up at the end, I'll be sharing all these slides on the website there. So, and also there'll be the video of this will be available after Denver Startup Week is over. Okay, so it took us a few years, but we eventually were able to turn failures into successes. And those failures were just simply growing pains. And so that's where that picture with the little goldfish, I mean, imagine me with a new family, a mountain of school debt, sitting in that crazy RV with 5 of us living in it, 4 of us and a dog, no, 5 of us and a dog, making sure I had to figure this out. I had to power through my failures. I had to. And so there I am. My kid's going to sleep at 8 o'clock at night because he was a newborn. And I'm up from 8 to 3 talking to suppliers in Asia every single night trying to get this thing going. So over the years, my coaching business came along about 6 years ago, and that grew. And I was finally bringing together my core values. Those things I alluded to as a child, showing respect for our planet and the people on it with my Amazon brands. Now, this is where it's my story's a little different than most, and that's the whole purpose of this talk. Not only did I want to make sure that I was there for my kids, and there to be there for Kodiak and to be able to go to all of his events and take him to school and everything, I also wanted to make sure that I applied my degree, which my passions took me into college, back to college after 20 years of starting, and I wanted to make sure that I was fulfilling my whys and following my core values. And so my coaching business came along, and that gave me a chance to get back into teaching others, which I did while I was going to school, and I've always been a tutor of some sort and showing other people how to do the things that I know how to do. So ultimately, the lifestyle my family needed to grow excuse me, and have fun together, that was supported as well, even more so with my coaching business. Because if you might figure out by the end of the day, I'm pretty passionate about what I teach, and you can ask John here in the audience. He's been one of my students for about a year. He could testify that I have a habit of going overtime, so the fact that we're starting 5 or 7 minutes late today is pushing me up against a wall. So I tend to over-deliver because I love to coach. Okay, so goodness. As you can see, now climate change is happening. It's undeniable. I don't meet anybody anymore who used to deny it, who anymore denies it. I've been experiencing in California big time over the years, you guys here in Denver as well. I've sat through enough hot, smoky summers to realize that crap is hitting the proverbial fan, right? I had videos that I could show you from last week of a fire 40 miles from my house. And that's just common. Every summer, late fall, every late summer, early fall, it's like 4 months of can't go outside half the days. It's really apparent that things are different. The temperatures are hotter, right? So I asked myself, and I started asking this question years ago, how can I help? How can I help my kids' future and my future on this planet? What can I do about it? So our goal here today for you founders is, I'm going to give you tons of info in 1 hour that I have training that covers in 158 hours. We're going to go through 4 things. We're talking about the Amazon opportunity. I'm going to briefly discuss how to build an Amazon business and being earth forward on Amazon, and then talk about making that difference to level up your profitability. Now, I'm not here to teach you to have an Amazon business that's more of a charitable business or more of a charitable organization. I'm here to teach how to have an Amazon business that thrives even more than a normal Amazon business that does not focus on being earth forward, okay? I need to stress that. Profit is one of the 3 main things that I focus on. People, planet, profit. The trouble with the rat race is that even if you win, you're still a rat. If you know who Lily Tomlin is, you probably have gray in your hair if you have hair. Okay, successful entrepreneurs, they are all principle-driven. Other than another word for principles is core values, right? I mentioned mine a little while ago. Some examples, Elon really protests that he really is successful because he follows his passion, and that's his why. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, he puts customers first. That's his core value that he has brought into his business since the very beginning. If you do build a great experience, and this is Jeff saying this, customers tell each other about that. Word of mouth is very powerful. If you're a competitor focused, you have to wait until there is a competitor doing something, but being customer focused allows you to be more pioneering. That is very, very important to take with you. I don't care if you start an Amazon business. It doesn't matter what you are selling. You need to start with your customer. That's where the successful people win, is when they start with their customer and work backwards. So do like Amazon and win like Amazon, right? In 1997, Jeff Bezos promised Amazon would focus relentlessly on its customers. And this is a very famous quote from him. The number one thing that has made us successful by far is obsessive, compulsive focus on the customer. That's Jeff Bezos saying the number one thing. And he has said that dozens of times. Okay, so to drive that point home further, imagine, great job on the slides, by the way. Imagine this boardroom as it fills up with people who are running the Amazon.com platform. Jeff's at the head of the table, and there's a seat next to him that's empty. Okay? The whole boardroom is full except one seat. Jeff always left one seat at the table empty for the customer, and it was always up front next to him. I don't know if that still happens because he stepped down last year as being heavily involved, but I bet it is. I'm assuming it probably is, and now I want to find out. Okay, so Amazon.com accounts for 38% of the U.S. e-commerce market. 38%, one company. Walmart has 6%. They are growing. Apple holds 3.9%. Now that amazes me right there. Apple only sells like 10 products, and they hold more than half of what Walmart does. Those numbers in cash are $1 trillion total e-commerce sales this year. Of that, $380 billion will be Amazon.com. That's just Amazon.com, by the way. There's Amazon.India, Amazon.Australia. There's platforms all over the world. About half of the earnings for Amazon's sales platforms are from the United States, from Amazon.com. $60 billion will be Walmart, $39 billion Apple. That'll be by the end of this year. Look at this one. Talk about customers. 153 million Amazon Prime shoppers in 2021. How many people in the United States? 325, 330. Almost half of them are Prime shoppers. That's phenomenal. Those are customers who are on the platform looking for your products if you're going to go sell them. 153 million of them every day. And that's just the Prime people. There's a whole nother sliver of folks that don't pay for Prime every year, right? Especially since it's up to over $100 for your Prime membership. Jeff Bezos almost named his company Cadabra instead of Amazon. That's an interesting one. Bezos and a few early employees began developing software for the site in Bezos' garage. The garage space was so small that Bezos was forced to hold meetings at a local Barnes & Noble. Ironically, he nearly put them out of business, right? And he was holding his early meetings in the Barnes & Noble. So that is really ironic. All right, so wouldn't you want to hitch your horse to this wagon as an Amazon seller? I mean, Amazon, if they're running a big part of what is involved in the e-commerce business with the fulfillment by Amazon, I mean, it was really obvious to me when I first heard about FBA and heard about the ability to sell on Amazon, I should hitch myself to Amazon. So how do I build an Amazon business and focus on the core value of being earth forward? The fact that very few other sellers are focusing on being earth forward on Amazon, for instance, should have nothing to do with what you pursue. The question you should be asking is, do my customers wish I were more earth forward? Do your pursuits reflect your passion and your why? And by the way, that answer to that second question is yes, they do. So we'll get to that, but first, what is an Amazon business and how do I get one? Right? That's pretty like, Patrick, that's why I came here. You know, I'm in the founder series here watching you telling me how to get an Amazon business going. There is a bunch to it, but first I'm going to kind of explain to you how Amazon fits in the bigger picture in e-commerce, okay? All real startups, especially Amazon, can be fast and simple, all right? There's a low barrier to entry, real fundamentals just like any other business. You need to know your numbers. You need to be paying attention as you scale. You need to keep your inventory in stock. You know, it's the real fundamentals there. Start with Amazon and you can expand to eBay, Etsy, Shopify store of your own, you know, 100 other channels. It doesn't have to just be Amazon. I am an Amazon-centric, but again, I started out selling on eBay. A lot of us, as we grow our brands, we will end up selling on multiple platforms beyond Amazon. Okay, so that's e-commerce, includes all those. The Amazon opportunity, however, you can own your own private label brand. And I'll talk about what private label is in a minute here. But the opportunity has hundreds of millions of customers, as I showed you. Any individual or group can start an Amazon business. No storage or shipping, as I explained with FBA, and you can get started for under $100. Disclaimer. What's that? Yes, unless it's good. If you didn't already get a prize, you would get one. Does anybody know how you can get started for under $100 on Amazon? Right, it's only $39 a month. That's if you're on the professional plan. You can start selling on Amazon on the individual plan for $0. I started out doing retail arbitrage out of that white tent you guys saw. And that was where you go down to Walmart or Big Lots or wherever you find stuff on sale, and you buy up stuff, and you ship it into Amazon, and it gets listed on the platform, and as soon as it sells, you get paid. So whatever it costs you to go get that product, you know, I'd go find some sort of, I favored an Asian grocery store in Sacramento, and I found a couple of products there that weren't on Amazon, but they were barely on Amazon. They were out of stock, right? So I'd send those in, and I paid like $15 for the first group of 6 of these things, and they sold for like $8 a piece. So I made $48, and they cost me $15. That's a 3x over what I spent. That's pretty good. That's what you're going for, 3 or 4x. And it cost me about $6 to ship those in. You can ship with, because when you ship in the FBA, you can use the Amazon shipping preferred rates, and they're amazing how low they are. You can ship like a 40-pound box for about $8 using the Amazon shipping rates. Maybe 9. 49, yes. If you keep it under 35, maybe I should have said 35, then you'd be under $10. And it depends on how far Amazon's telling you to ship it, right? When you go to ship stuff in the FBA, they tell you where to send it. They may have you break it into 3 boxes and send it all over the world. I mean, all over the country. So, the Amazon opportunity, as I said, harnesses FBA. They do the heavy lifting. And now to private label selling. So I started out in retail arbitrage. The disclaimer I didn't finish was you can get started practicing and getting on the platform for under $100. But now I'm going to talk about private label selling, which is what I teach and what people usually gravitate towards. They may start at retail arbitrage or wholesaling, but they end up at private label selling. And private label selling is simply you as a company or as a brand go find a product. You might find one that's already selling on Amazon and improve it, innovate it, differentiate it, as we say. In the 5 years ago, you could probably just add some new colors and send in the same exact thing as was already selling. It's a little bit more difficult than that now if you really want to compete as a top performing brand. Yes, you can go find the exact products that are out there already being sold. There's 58 brands already being sold of that widget, and you can go source that same widget, change the color, put your brand on it, and send it in. You have just private labeled a product, okay? Your product's your brand. You get to own a real business. You're utilizing FBA, and you have one good product that can sell 6 to 7 figures monthly. One product. My students always get super excited, and to be honest, everybody who starts looking at the data, so many tools now where you can go look at the data of what brands are selling and how much they're selling per month. I'm going to show you some pages in a minute here that'll show you that. Everybody gets really excited when they see that revenue column, right? And it'll say for this one product, oh, last month they sold $565,000. Oh my gosh, I want to go sell that. That's crazy. We were talking before that one of the most important things that will determine how successful you are is that whole brand part and what products you actually go after. So that first line item there under private label selling, your products, your brand, you need to make sure you pick the right products and develop them within a brand. That's been my experience if you want to profit. If you've got deep pockets, you can go and you have a lot of lawyers and you want to spend half your days arguing with other brand owners, you can still do wholesale and retail arbitrage. It's gotten more difficult though, because all the brands that own these products that we were going to buy at Walmart on sale and going to sell on Amazon, they're now sending you cease and desist letters saying, no, I don't want you to sell it on Amazon, that's my product. So private labels become even more popular for us founders, especially because of that, okay? So gross profit margins are high, 30 to 80%. If we can get 40% gross margin on a product, and we check it all out before we ever spend a dime, if we can get 40%, we're doing great, and we will run with that one. Sometimes you can find them that are much higher than that, okay? Private label selling is scalable, and you can be unique and more competitive, which is really important to succeed on Amazon. All right, so let Amazon pick, pack, and ship your orders. That's FBA. I mean, could you imagine running, let's say you got 50 products going and your shelves were half of what that shows in the upper right. I mean, managing that can be a pain. I've tried it with my eBay business. It was a pain, especially since I was selling one unit at a time. Oh my gosh, it was nuts. Okay, so success on Amazon, what does that look like? Well, if you run it like a real business, again, one product can sell 67 figures per month. Private labelers can launch 3 to 20 products per year. Again, if you're a huge company, and you've really grown to 300 employees or whatever, you can launch more than that. You may have 7 brands you're running, But a normal founder like one of you guys who's running a business with yourself and a small team, or even with yourself for the first year, 3 to 20 products, and after you've gotten experienced, is not unheard of. 3 would be good for your first year, okay? You just need to follow a roadmap, and we use the Amazon Selling Blueprint. It's a creation of mine and my company's. It's 7 phases of Amazon selling, walks you through the whole kit and caboodle. Make sure you don't miss a beat. You need to get the right mindset. You guys have probably been taking some mindset training this week. It's a word that's thrown around a tremendous amount. Super important. I was talking with my wife last night, and we were reminiscing over the early days, and it's like, it does not matter what business you're going after. It does not matter what entrepreneurial endeavor you're taking on. Shit's going to happen, and it's probably going to happen about every other day. And I have a lot of students I've coached through the years, and about half of them who have dropped off. It's because I would get frantic calls from them or emails or whatever, freaking out about, for the 12th time, something that the Amazon platform did to their account that day. That's just part of the game. And the key to winning at being an entrepreneur, no matter what, don't give up. And that's pretty much the key to winning at anything, I would say. You can't give up. That's the one thing you can't do. Okay, here's an example of a successful Amazon brand. This is Space Aid. This is all the products they sell for the most part. They're the most popular ones. And when I saw these guys, I'm like, oh, how long have they been selling? That's the first thing I think, how long have they been doing this, right? They must have been around for 10 years. Nope. All those products you saw on that page, they've developed in 2021 and 22. They started with one of those, and I've seen it grow just in the last year from one of those into 3 of those into all of them. Their monthly revenue for their top 5 is $657,000 a month. That's just their top 5. They're well over $1 million, possibly 2, for all their products. They started with one product. A brand new brand, year and a half ago, one product. They're private labeling. Okay, here's one of my student case studies. A little bit more close to home for me. So Rebecca, she came to me, she was an attorney, but she was about to have her first baby. And she really had heard about Amazon FBA, and she wanted to start an Amazon company, and she knew she could do it. She had an idea for a niche to go into, and so we started working together. She had that thing trademarked and registered, her brand, within a short time, right? She had her products sourced, and she picked something real light and small, so it shipped quickly from Asia, where she was having it made in China. It took about 3 days to get here. It took them 15 days to make it. So within 20 days from the time that she found her supplier and decided to buy from them, she had product in Amazon. She had a brand up and running. Her listing copy, her images, and her video, which is very important on a product listing, The product listing is what we see when we go shopping on Amazon. She dialed that in. I was talking to somebody before the talk here who does listing optimization. It's a really detailed, really important thing. It's the most important thing to succeed on the platform, especially that picture, that image. We all see what we want and we buy it, right? 80% of us don't even go look at the copy in the listing. So she had everything dialed in. I got a call from her 4 months after starting her Amazon business. She called me and says, Patrick, I know you've advised me against this. I should wait till at least, it's a right time for me, usually within about a year of succeeding, to quit my day job. She called me at month 4 and says, I know you said not to, but I'm quitting my job. I'm like, all right, put a pin in that. Let's go look at your numbers. Let's go see how you're doing. I know you have a husband that can support you guys anyway, so it's okay. And you have to have a baby, so you're going to be not working here in a minute anyway. So we went and looked at her numbers, and she was on track to profit that first year, and profit enough where she could make up half of her salary, and she knew that. So we looked at those numbers, and she made the decision to leave her job. Okay, so her brand success has allowed her to work approximately 1 hour a week for much of last year when she had her second baby. She got to be a mom, and for 9 months last year, she worked for about an hour a week. Her husband helped with her advertising for about an hour or 2 a week. Other than that, we loaded her up with product about a month before she was going to have her second baby. I didn't talk to her again for like 4 months at all. Her numbers last year, she made $170,000 gross revenue with a $52,000 profit. And for 9 months, she was working an hour a week. Now, she did the front-loaded work the year before, okay? She was working more than an hour a week. You can't have a 1 hour a week business running with only 1 hour a week. You have to put in more time on the front end, and that's true with any startup, right? And note her profits. Go back one slide. There you go. Thank you. Her margins, and that's after advertising and Amazon fees, are at 33%. That's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Okay, so how do I build an Amazon business? With your private label brand, how do you build it? Well, I alluded to the Amazon Selling Blueprint, the 7 phases of selling as I see to have locked them down into over the years. It used to be 10, then I moved to 5, and then I've settled at 7 over the last few years. Going through all those phases is how you build your business, and then doing it again, okay? The proof is in the profit. 58% of Amazon.com products are from private sellers, like me or maybe you. Does anybody know anybody that sells on Amazon? All right. Do they sell one product, bunch of products? Are they private label? Do you know? Four products, one brand? Yep. Private label seller. So how do you do this? Well, you source the product and you send it to Amazon FBA. I didn't put down here, there's about 3 months of work before you source it. You've got to figure out what you're going to sell, especially if it's your first product. You got to figure out what you're going to sell. Now, if you're starting for under $100 and you're just getting your feet wet, you can, not worry too much about what you sell. Just practice. Go out, find a product that you can send in. You want to make sure it's from a smaller brand that's not going to be chasing you down. But if you're only going to sell a couple to get used to the Amazon platform, even if they shut you down, you only had 2 you sent in, big deal. All right, I'll stop selling that product. But if you're going to sell long-term, and that's what we're, I think, all here to learn how to do, or to at least get an idea of how this works, you got to do a lot of work ahead of time to figure out what you're going to sell. And we start with our customer. So I guide people to figure out the niche they're going to sell in first. You'll probably heard this all over the place. Figuring out your niche, narrowing down your niche is where you should begin. It is the one solid thing I've had to argue with my clients about over the years, consistently, over and over and over again. They focus on the product that they want to find before they know who their customer is. It's all about finding that product, like Rebecca's, that's going to get you that money. All those products that Space Age sold, that's going to get you that money. Well, Space Age started out, you can see they're focused on kitchen organization. They knew their niche. They were able to grow so fast because they knew who they were selling to. Just like Jeff knows his customers and always pays attention to what they want. That's how you build a private label brand, okay? So you got to figure out what niche you're going to sell in and what products you're going to sell. Come after that. And that's the first part. Then you source the product and send it to Amazon FBA, okay? Customers order the product from the platform. Amazon FBA fulfills the order from your inventory that they are stocking for you. Then you get paid minus all the fees and advertising and everything else. Now there's a lot that goes into this. Again, 7 phases. I break it down into 6 months. I can teach people how to do the whole process. On the average, it takes 4 months to 8, 9 months to get your first product in a brand off the ground, okay? If somebody's telling you that they're doing it, this is not on the slide. If somebody's telling you they're doing it in a month, getting a brand up and going without a team by themselves, they're either developing a terrible brand and they don't know what they're doing, or they're lying. Okay, so it's not an experiment if you know it's going to work. That's the awesome thing about if you want to start an Amazon business today. The number of tools and the number of experienced people that have gone before you, you have to find them, right? You don't want to listen to everybody because there's a lot of gurus out there. I don't claim to be a guru, but I'm one of those gurus out there who's standing on the stage telling you how to do this. There's a lot of them who will misguide you and are not up to date with everything that you need to be focusing on. I mean, I got called out a minute ago on shipping, right? On shipping costs. There's a lot to it, but it's not this elusive, how do you do this thing? It's a science. And the tools we have nowadays make it so much easier to do things. So it's not an experiment if you get into selling on Amazon. Okay, so again, how do I build an Amazon business and focus on the core values of being profitable and earth forward? Okay, let's get into the Amazon and earth discussion. So I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but the environmental costs, there's upstream costs, and it's all about carbon emissions and pollution from research and development and manufacturing. There's downstream costs with any product being sold, and that's the carbon emissions and pollution from sea shipping, the air freight, the warehouse storage, delivering product to the customer, handling the returns, handling stuff that's going to get thrown out because it doesn't sell, and you have to have it called back from the warehouses to your house, or to your warehouse, or to your storage unit, wherever you run your business out of. So there's all these carbon emissions and pollution coming from these billions of products being shipped around the planet. Amazon has been criticized for its environmental impact, focus ranging from its 1-day and 2-day shipping to its packaging and delivery routes. As I just mentioned, much of the attention on Amazon's environmental effect comes from their carbon footprint. The greenhouse gases involved in the manufacture, use, and breakdown around commerce can trap heat in the atmosphere and ultimately warm up the earth. I know we all know this, but I had to put it out here anyway. And that's one of the biggest concerns. It's what I really started thinking heavily about really early on. My first brand was a earth-friendly brand, as was my second and third. That's just how I started. I was that passionate about people and our planet, and I got educated back in 2010 from University of California on this topic, right? We were talking about climate change decades ago. Now everybody's finally catching up. So here's the big question I've asked, thinking about this over the years. If packaging and delivery routes are a concern, then consider this. Amazon has pledged to reduce carbon emissions by 2040. Okay, cool. You see their electric trucks and all that kind of stuff. But that is only for the products that Amazon, the brand, is responsible for producing, which is about 12 million out of 350 million products. Let me repeat that. Amazon and Amazon's brands, which include a few of them, Amazon Basics being one of them, Amazon Essentials, they only sell 12 million of the products on the platform. What about the other 338 million products? That's the question we should be asking. That's the question I ask. Because Amazon can control what they do, but what about all these other third-party sellers? What are all the other e-commerce companies, private label sellers, a lot of them being Chinese, 55% of them actually, maybe up to 60 of the private label sellers are selling out of China. What are they doing to focus on reducing carbon emissions and pollution? I love this picture. There is no planet B, right? Despite people wanting to take rockets to Mars and all that, I don't want to live on Mars. I like it here. Mars looks very desolate. I grew up in Arizona, and the Arizona desert's gorgeous. It's not desolate. Mars looks desolate. All right. Again, how can I help with such a big problem as climate change? So making a difference with your brand on Amazon. Now we're going to connect the dots. We can help our planet, we can help our fellow humans, and we can help our business. Okay? The thing I'm going to focus on right now is helping our business. And we do so in three ways. We can do it with our brand. I'm going to explain this in a minute. You can do it with your products and your business practices. Okay? So first, making a difference with your brand. And this is kind of where there's the whole 7 phases of selling on Amazon that all the private label sellers are going through those phases. And you have to get the baseline things done to sell product on Amazon and to do it well. I'm bringing in the extra things or the ways you can do things a little bit differently while you're going through those to focus on being earth forward. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about right here. That's the making a difference part. So with your brand, you got to keep your core values front and center. By doing so, you can have a regional focus in your brand. So you might want to source things from the United States if you can, like if you're selling here on the .com platform, or more nearby than overseas. I'll give you an example in a minute of one of my clients who's been moving that way. But obviously, if you don't have to ship stuff from Asia and you can ship it from Utah to the distribution centers across the country, it's going to be a lot less polluting, right? You can only use sustainable, you can try using only sustainable materials, right, in your brand. So like make it a rule, like I'm only going to develop products that I'm using things that are sustainable, like bamboo, organic cotton, you know, the list goes on and on. Things that are carbon neutral, maybe I want to go that far. And you can promote outdoor spaces. Now this is a big one I could talk for 17 hours on. I backpack a lot. I'm a big John Muir fan. I don't know if you guys know who he was, but John Muir was an explorer. He loved exploring Alaska and California especially. And he's the guy who found Yosemite before anybody else did pretty much. He was one of the first early explorers in the late 1800s and early 1900s. He found Yosemite. He found Sequoia Canyon, Sequoia and Kings Canyon, the big trees. And he's like, this is going to disappear. I'm already seeing loggers cut down these enormous trees. And if you have not seen a giant sequoia in person, I recommend you going out west and checking it out. I know we're west, but go further west. And you can see them at Yosemite National Park or Kings Canyon Giant Sequoia National Park, or Sequoia Kings Canyon National Park. So John Muir was like, no, these are getting cut down. This is going to go away. This is so beautiful. It's going to go away. It's going to get ruined. So he goes back to Washington and he talks to his buddy Teddy Roosevelt. They became buddies. And he drugged Teddy out and showed him these things. And immediately Teddy was like, oh my gosh, we have to do something. This is going to go away. These are going to go away. So in the early 1900s, I don't know, it was 1904, 08, I can't remember. The National Park System was founded. As a result, pretty much of John Muir bringing Teddy Roosevelt out west to see these amazing things. You can do that in your brand, okay? I've been doing it for years, and I sell more products as a result. Because I know my customer is the backpacker. I have a product that's for backpackers. The backpackers, I know them. I am one of them. I love to, you can see I'm geeking out on John Muir, right? I love anything to do with discussing the outdoors, especially national parks and stuff like that. My dad worked for the BLM for his whole career and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. He worked for the public entities like the National Park System to work on preserving our lands. I know I'm passionate about that. My customers are passionate about that. You can use that in your brand. You can promote outdoor spaces. You can promote other things that may be climate forward in your brand, right? Get people out to see the beauty and they'll want to save it. Okay, here's a brand, making the difference with your brand case study. Lita, one of my clients, she had a natural organic dog wellness brand. Everything was made in the USA. It was organic. She kept to 6 higher priced products. That's how many total she had. Well made, safe. She did top listings. She appealed to dog owners who wanted natural products for their dogs, and they were willing to pay 30, 40, 50 bucks for arthritis formula powders that you can put in your dog's food. That was one of her products. Or oils for your dog's aching hips and joints. And she sold them for top price because she knew her clients were not looking for the cheap stuff. They wanted to sell. They wanted to buy stuff for their loved one, their dog. She sold the brand last year for $3 million. She started it like you sitting right here and like I started years ago. She started with herself and her husband. Her husband, not so much. It was mostly her. I never even talked to her husband. I only talked to Lita. She called me up after she sold her brand last year for $3 million about 3 months later, and she's like, Patrick, I need help. How do I hire people? I'm like, you sold a brand for $3 million and you don't know how to, you haven't ever hired anybody? She's like, no, not really. We've used freelancers and contractors and stuff, but hiring employees, I don't know how to do that. So she had a second brand. They sold the first one. Her bigger baby, she still has and still running. They'll probably sell that for $7 million, right? Retire with $10 million in a few more years, and after 8 total years, she's got her retirement. Okay, next, making a difference with your products. I'm hurrying. We might be a few minutes over since we started a few minutes late. Making a difference with your products. Sourcing from Earth-focused manufacturers. You can do that. Believe it or not, millions of suppliers in Asia. China has a big-time focus on being Earth-forward. I know everybody kind of generalizes and thinks that if it's a Chinese manufacturer, they don't really care about anything but making money, but that is not true. China itself, the country, strives to become better at being Earth-forward. They've been bringing Governor Jerry Brown from California. He was governor in the 70s, and he was governor last decade. They've been bringing him out for decades, flying him out to China to have him teach them how to deal with air pollution, how to deal with bringing more renewable sources of energy on board. They now produce more wind energy than anybody on the planet, right? So you can find manufacturers who are tuned into that as well if you're having to source from China. Now, manufacturing is coming back to the United States, but it's still not here. We gave it up over the decades. So most things are made in Asia. Using friendly materials again, and then focusing on shipping. With your products, you can make a difference by focusing on your shipping. You can minimize dead air packaging. You can do lots of things to help lower your carbon emissions. And you can deal with your product space as well. So less warehousing required, and you can do that. I'm going to talk to you about that here in a second, by really looking at your packaging, okay? So here's a case study. Alan, real quick. Alan had a natural organic brand, a baby brand, one of my clients, and he has slowly started. As of this year, one of his products he sourced from China. He now is sourcing from the United States. He found a supplier here who's making it. Suppliers are starting to increase. Manufacturing is starting to increase in the United States. And so he's able to save money, so he profits more, and he's making less of a carbon footprint. His numbers in 1 month. This is just a random month I took. He works part-time, by the way. He has another 2 businesses that he runs at the same time as doing this part-time, okay? There's his brand. You can go check him out. Rain Naturals, if you look it up on Amazon. By the way, I'll be sharing all these slides on the website if you grab a card. Okay, lastly, making a difference with your business practices. You can run your business more sustainably. There's lots of things you can do. I'm going to be putting up 11 ways to make your e-commerce business more sustainable on the website. You guys can download that. Put your profits to work by donating some of the money you make. I've been donating a percentage of my profits on Amazon since the beginning. I was doing it before there was a program to do it. And now Amazon has programs in place that make it easier to do. I would just physically take the money after Amazon paid me and donate it to a charity, right? Now there's programs in place on Amazon that they can help you do that automatically. And this last one here is where we're at. Enroll in Amazon climate-friendly programs. This is a big-time way that you can have making a difference business practices in an earth-forward way. So I want to introduce you real quick to Amazon Climate Pledge Friendly, okay? This is about a 2-year-old program. Not a lot of sellers know about it. It's not commonly heard of. You got to dig around to find it, even find products on it. Basically what it is it's a stamp that Amazon gives to your product if it passes some tests. If it gets certain certifications, or one of many certain certifications, it gets the Climate Pledge Friendly badge. Now I went and searched Climate Pledge Friendly in the men's clothing and came up with results that weren't men's clothing, and that rose a red flag to me. Why is there no men's clothing products when I searched that? Okay, so I searched another way. I searched for, as you can see up there, men's shirts, and then I sorted by, or filtered by Climate Pledge Friendly, okay? Of all the men's shirts on Amazon, and I wish I'd have got the number, but there's thousands of them, possibly tens of thousands, there's only 29 that are Climate Pledge Friendly. 29 of the shirts are Climate Pledge Friendly certified. Customers are starting to shop for Climate Pledge Friendly stuff. And if there's only 29 shirts, that's opportunity waiting to be taken right there. Amazon has 2 brands here that were 2 of those shirts, Amazon Essentials and Amazon Aware. If Amazon created an entire brand, Amazon Aware, revolving around their Climate Pledge Friendly program, which they did, then Amazon, focusing on their customers, as they always do, they know the customers are asking for it and asking for more climate-friendly things. It's probably going to be very profitable. Amazon does nothing that is not profitable. I don't want to say nothing, but you guys get the point. Okay, how to qualify? You have to obtain either Amazon's own certification stamp that they came up with called Compact by Design, and you basically just have to follow a math formula when you're designing your packaging or your product to make sure it's more compact. There's less dead airspace in it. Here's an example. I ordered this, needed some new Band-Aids, came in. This one here it had the Climate Pledge Friendly badge on it. The other way, and I'll talk more about that in a second, the other way you can get the Climate Pledge Friendly certification is either Compact by Design or getting one of these many other certifications, which include 100% organic, rainforest. There's so many of them on this list. You just have to get one certification and you can get the Climate Pledge Friendly badge on your product, okay? So here's a case study. This is the Band-Aids. As you can see there in the lower right, it's got the Climate Pledge Friendly badge. I scrolled down on the sales page on the listing, and they tell you what certification that this product got to get the badge, and they got Compact by Design. So they designed this product, passed that math equation, and they got the stamps. Easy peasy. And by the way, this brand Febu, for Earth by Us. I kind of like it. Organic bamboo. See, they're doing some of those organic materials in addition to the packaging. They put a lot more Band-Aids in the packaging, and it's light. Okay. And I don't think it came in a big box either. It's a whole other story. Okay, recap real quick. The Amazon opportunity, get started for little, can make a lot. How to build an Amazon business, I went through that. The 7 phases of Amazon selling with the blueprint is how you do it. It doesn't matter who you talk to, who you learn from. They have the steps laid out, right? Or they should. Might be 10 phases, might be 3 phases. You source the product, send it to FBA. Amazon fulfills it, then you get paid. How to be earth forward on Amazon, or why being earth forward needs to happen, is there's real cost in the environment, and we need to set a successful example for other sellers. Something I didn't mention, but as you start succeeding at selling climate forward products and brands, others will do it as well, and that will spread like wildfire. When you leave here today, and we don't have time right now for me to go on that tandem, but when you leave here today, think about I mean, 355 million products in the catalog. How many shipping vessels are traveling around the planet every single day with the products we're buying on Amazon? And then to know how few 26 shirts or 29 shirts out of thousands, these companies are obviously caring about how they're shipping those things. Imagine how much can be saved. Imagine how much pollution and carbon footprint there is that we're not giving a shit about it. Amazon has 12 million of the 350 million. The other 338 million products, most of those sellers, less than 1% care about being earth forward in their activities. The other 99 point something percent do not. I don't know how we're behind on this. I don't. It blows my mind. And it's profitable. It's crazy. It is profitable. All right. Making a difference to level up profitability. Exactly. It's profitable. You can put your effort into your brand, into your products, and you don't have to do extra effort, really. You're just doing the same things to develop your brand and your products in a little bit different way of thinking about it. And you save money and you make more profit for your family in the long run. It's like win, win, win. Okay, I just went through those. So opportunity awaits to make crazy profits, all the while affecting massive change. Customers want climate forward products. Customers return to buy from the same brands again and again. Alan's brand, we see it. He has increased his return customers. You can go in and look at the data on Amazon and see, customers that are coming back again and again. He talks to them. He has them off of Amazon platform. Look at that. Less than 1% of sellers are earth forward focused, like I said a second ago. But that is changing. You guys learned today that you could be an early founder to make a difference and make your family's fortune selling on Amazon. I'm paraphrasing here. If you want to go check out a recent interview I did on a podcast, it's a cool podcast in and of itself. It's about people, planet, and profit. Me and Jordan kind of matched. I've been thinking about those three things for years. He put it into a podcast, did the interview. Go check it out. It discusses a lot of what I discussed today. But he said to me on the phone, off the air, Patrick, you are the only one who is willing to discuss both the need and the how when it comes to doing this Amazon private label thing in a climate-forward way. And I wish I had known where to find you before. I didn't put this up here to gloat or brag or anything like that. This guy works with businesses in the hundreds, top-tier brands that are making their shift from being low to middle to high producers. And this guy told me that I'm the first person that he ran across to discuss this. He wanted to start an Amazon business years ago and hadn't done it yet because he did not know how to do it sustainably and to be more earth forward in thinking. His whole business evolved around that. Okay, that's enough out of me. Thank you guys very much. I'm sorry we had to go so fast. We started a little late. I've got free downloads and info. I got 7 lessons and some bonus lessons for you guys on that website. You can scan the QR code. I'll share these slides on that site. If you guys have any questions, I will be happy to take them after. I think we have to make room for another talk coming in just a little while. Yeah, it's 9:37. So I'd be happy to answer any questions over there after, or you can email me, or you can find me on LinkedIn. Really, really nice being here. I really appreciate you guys being patient with the late start, and I hope you guys can get out there and strap on your shark fins, no matter what you're choosing to move forward in business with. Hope you guys can strap those on and grow into a shark. You're welcome. Thank you, thank you. You guys enjoy the rest of the week.